Watching News X, my name is Vineet Malhotra. In a shocking development, a 22-year-old woman, Mahsa Amini, has died from a brain injury in Iran. Mahsa was brutally abducted and beaten up by the morality police in the country of Iran for not wearing her hijab properly. She was taken to the detention center where she was beaten so badly that she suffered a brain injury and was declared brain dead by the doctors. Mahsa breathed her last on Friday. And since then, massive protests have erupted across the country of Iran, with women taking to the streets. Women have removed their hijabs in solidarity with Mahsa and are chanting "Death to the dictator" slogans. Police in Iran is attempting to suppress these protests. Now remember, in July this year, social media was flooded with posts of women in Iran who started a No to Hijab movement. Hundreds of women shared videos of their bare heads. Just 2 months later, a young woman has been beaten to death over her hijab. If in India we focus on the right to wear what we want, how come the same conversation can't even be had in Iran? And this is a country which has just been inducted into the SCO, and this is a country which has been pushing all barrels to be a part of the economic recovery plan and the economic proliferation plan with India, with the United States, with Russia, with China. But still, if you look at their social structure and the way they treat their women, it's still something that comes out of the Bronze Age. Joining us on the platform to talk more about this is Mr. Firoz Bhakt Ahmed, educationist and former Chancellor of Maulana Azad National Urdu University. Yana Mir, Editor-in-Chief of the Real Kashmir News, also joins us on the show. Lubna Kamal, Impar Media panelist, is also here with us. And last but by no means the least, Mr. Muhammad Ali Shah, Impar Media panelist, joining us on the program as well. Mr. Bhakt, I'd like to begin with you, sir. Well, I find this to be a very disturbing dichotomy that on one hand, Iran wants to, appear to be a progressive nation when it comes to making money. It wants to show that it is a developing nation that should be trusted by everyone. But if you look at its own, interior structure and the way they have been treating their women, nothing has changed there. Do you think that both of these things have to prosper in juxtaposition to each other? And another caveat to that question would be that how come the Western media is not talking about all of this that's happening in Iran, but something even, minutely closer to what's happening in Iran right now is transpired in India. They in fact admonish us, they rebuke us, they tear us to threads.
All right, Vineet, perhaps you described this something very disturbing, but I would in fact say that this is not just disturbing, this is horrendous and heinous. This girl who was beaten up by the moral police, I do not know what is the meaning of this moral police or morality regiment. No one has got the right to actually deliver moral lectures or, force people to indulge in morality. What is all this, Everything is inbuilt. Morality is inbuilt, and every individual has his own belief in morality. But this is something, when we talk of Iran, Iran was a wonderful country beneath till the time of the Shah of Iran, Raza Shah Pahlavi. After him and Khomeini and his king, when they took over Iran, then Iran actually, in fact, it receded to bottomless hell. All these things which are happening in Iran, these are not the things which are progressive. Iran has become regressive each and every day. Iran is a lovely country. It's a wonderful country, right? Weather is fine, food items are wonderful, markets are good, but its governance is worst after Shah. And similar, same thing actually prevails in Afghanistan. Afghanistan was also a wonderful country with, when its Shah was there, right? Once it became religious, country, the people who ruled it were all, they all are from religion, and they actually have been breaking that Bamiyan Buddha. So Iran and Afghanistan have gone deep into the dumps. And whatever happened in the name of hijab in Iran, and something of that kind also, Vineet, happened in India. Hijab, I was just
Not
this was
even
just
close. Not even close. What happened in India is not even close.
Yeah, no, it's not close. No, hijab is allowed in India in the malls, in the marriages, everywhere in the market, but just not in the classroom, because there is a rule and regulation and system in the classrooms that classrooms are secular. Everyone from any religion can attend the classrooms, but you need not indulge in any pomp and show of your own religion. That's perfectly all right. But in Iran, in countries like Afghanistan, to quite an extent, in countries like Pakistan, Syria, now these things actually have put Islam under scanner. For the last 40-45 years, this kind of extremism has destroyed these nations, has actually made the life of these people hell.
Right,
And
right.
Iran women were very progressive. They used to wear
So were,
any kind of
Afghanistani women, sir. So were Afghanistani women. Yana Mir, if you can hear me,
Pakistani
let me just
Yes,
take a
yes,
response from Yana Mir as well. Yana, if you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yana, it's not only about the hijab and this so-called quote-unquote moral police, that gets to do these horrendous things to women in Iran. If you look at the inheritance law in Iran, it's lopsided towards men. If you look at compensation for a woman if she dies in an accident, it's half of what a man would get. This is the kind of reformative streak that Iran has been lacking, and it's still portraying, a facade of, a progressive country.
First of all, it should stop the facade of being an Islamic country. Because if we talk about Islam, if we talk about hijab, like Firoz Saab said that Islam is under scandal, so I'll just clarify a few things. It's a fact. Countries like them, countries like Afghanistan, Pakistan are putting my religion under a scandal, so I'll just clarify. So first of all, if you see the tafsir of Surah An-Nur, verse 30 and 31, hijab for men has been prescribed before hijab for women. So what is hijab for men? That they always have to lower their gaze. And then, even then, if women feel uncomfortable, if they feel that they're being stalked, or if they feel they are in some kind of danger, well, they have been suggested to wear a hijab. Again, Surah Al-Ahzab describes what a hijab is. A hijab simply means that you don't wear anything transparent and you cover the top portion of your body. That's about it. And now, what is all this that you have to wear the headscarf properly and this and that? Women have been told that if they feel unsafe, whatever has been prescribed for women has been done after what has been recommended for men. So, for men, it has been said in clear words that you have to keep your gaze down, lower your gaze. So now, what are the moral police of Iran doing? They are raising their gaze to look at which woman is wearing a hijab and which woman is not wearing a hijab. So they are the ones who are not following Islam. How dare they look at women like this and decide she's wearing it properly, she's not wearing it properly, and then they'll drag her into custody and they'll beat her up. Who has given them this permission in Islam? They are not an Islamic country. Who's Ibrahim Raisi to change the rules of Islam? So this is the first thing.
All this is un-Islamic, Yana.
And what is the world doing, sitting quietly and allowing a moral police? Okay, you talk about moral policing. Okay, fine. You stop children from watching porn. You stop. There are moral policing. There are regulations to moral policing, which is accepted standards of moral policing accepted universally. But what kind of moral policing? You are suppressing women like this. I also stand for hijab. I've always supported, whether it is ghungat, which our Hindu women do, or hijab. I have always supported it as a freedom of clothing. That if women want to appear modest and they want to do it, they are free to do it. So, Vineet, you're aware. I've always stood. Even when people in India are saying hijab should be banned, I say no. Women must have that right to do it. But it is a freedom. And in Iran is the complete opposite. Women are being forced to wear. So, any kind of suppression to freedom must be, voices. Why are Iranian women alone in these protests? I don't understand what the world is doing. And allowing the women, the world is allowing Uyghurs to get persecuted in China. Nobody wants to say anything to China. The world is allowing women to get suppressed and persecuted in Afghanistan and Iran. Nobody wants to, take any panga with Afghanistan. Nobody wants to say anything to Iran's regime. Why? Then what do we have these human rights organizations for? Just to do propaganda against India. What else do they do? I don't understand. Why is no one raising voices for the women who are
It's
dying?
not only the human rights organizations, Mohammed Ali Shah. Yana is right. It's also the Western media that often fails to talk about the real issues in the world. You know, Iran, of course, majority Shia population, 82% of their GDP is through exports of oil and natural gas. You know, they seem to be coming up as a country, Mohammed Ali Shah, that will definitely, rule the roost in certain parts and certain avenues. But unless, this kind of, an atmosphere prevails and reforms are not instituted, I think Iran is going to go down the Afghanistan and Pakistan way. And they also have aspirations of becoming nuclear, Mohammed Ali Shah.
Well, Vineet, firstly, I would like to say my commendations to the women of Iran who had the courage and the guts to come out and protest against the oppression, against being forced to wear hijab. And I think wearing hijab should be a personal choice. I think it should be protested when it's being torped, when it's being lugged upon you, that you have to wear hijab. Come on, then you should protest it. When you're being oppressed, you should protest it. Also, when it's being forced upon you that, okay, you cannot wear hijab, then again. So I think I'm a great one for women empowerment, Vineet. Always, I was, when we have women marching on the Kartavya Path, that was Rajpath earlier, I was instrumental of the fact of advocating lady officers to march on 20th January there. So I strongly feel that women, no one has the right to bully the ladies that, okay, wear this, wear that. And let me tell you, nations like Iran and Saudi Arabia, I have lived in Saudi Arabia, so I'm telling you there's something known as mutawwa. Mutawwa is what? Mutawwa is an official, formal, recognized moral police. A mutawwa is not moral policing. There's a difference between a moral police and moral policing. So mutawwas are, you'll be surprised to know, they are actually officially moral policing. Like the way we have traffic police, we have crime police to catch crime, right? So they have moral police where their job is to make sure that women do not come out without abaya, that no men are found on the streets in prayer time in Saudi Arabia, that is. Similarly, in Iran, it is utterly ridiculous, regressive, and it is very sad to see the state of women because they are being oppressed over there. The Irani women, when they come to India, they go to Goa and they go to other places and you meet them. I've met tourists, they say they are from Iran. And they find a lot of liberty, a lot of freedom, and a lot of freedom to wear what they want, how they want to wear. But here in conservative societies, it's not just about it's mainly Shia dominated or anything. And secondly, as the point that you brought out about the Western media does not talk about this, I'm very surprised because Iran and US are not best of the friends. The whole world knows this. Whereas something else Iran will do, the Western media will highlight that, but here this is not being spoken about. So I think when the women in Iran are giving solidarity when they stand for their 22-year-old sister who died in custody of the moral police, I think it speaks great volume that they are now evolving, they're coming of age, and it's no more that you can oppress them the way you would do earlier. I mean, there were some nations where it was very surprising that, shocking and utterly painful to see women being stoned. What for? I mean, so it's double standards.
But Ali, do you think Iran is the only country where this problem persists? Don't you think there are other Arab countries, which continue, to have these atrocities committed on women? And most of the times, they're not reported because the media itself is so curtailed and censored.
Really, this is not the only country. There are other nations as well. And it is actually disheartening. It is, I would say, shameful and regressive. But yes, Iran, it is very much highlighted and it is predominant and it's prevalent and it's mainly in Iran, in conservative societies like this. So you cannot, how long will you hold a horse? You tie up a horse and you say now you cannot run. One day when you open the horse will gallop, it'll canter, it'll move away. You cannot hold the women over there oppressive that no, I will impose this upon you. You can't impose anyone's decision, for heaven's sake. It should be their personal choice. And I think the women have taken a very bold step now. You know, many years back, Vineet, when my father was a diplomat in Saudi Arabia, that time we had heard a story where women in Saudi Arabia, the women weren't allowed to drive at that time over there. How regressive again. So one fine day, 20 women said, let's break the chains, let's break the rules, come on. And they drove across. They were arrested later on, that's a different thing. And it was very sad. But now, slowly and gradually, it's a good sign.
Okay, let me take a response from Lubna Kamal as well. No, Lubna, what are your thoughts on this? Ali used a word called regressive, and regressive is what Iran has been. And as I mentioned in my opening monologue as well, that this so-called facade of theirs of doing business with the world and showing themselves to be, a good country with morals depicted only for buyers of oil and natural gas are not fooling anyone. What goes on the country inside, especially with women, is something of a great cause of concern.
See, I wear hijab, but I completely support these Iranian girls who are really brave, to come out and voice whatever they want. And I feel now that since they have opened that Pandora box, now the Middle Eastern countries, the women from Middle Eastern countries and Afghanistan should also join them, and the rest of the world also should join these poor girls who are protesting. And I, at the same time, I support the Karnataka girls also, the ones who want to wear hijab. So see, the liberty to wear or not wear anything, to eat or not eat anything, to go in a pub, to go in a bar, to party on Valentine's Day or on New Year, it should lie with the individual. And we are in 21st century. We cannot be so regressive. I mean, this is definitely, I would say I support the girls wholeheartedly. And see, Iran, everyone knows what is happening in Iran and Afghanistan. So this is high time the whole world should support them.
Okay. Mr. Bhakt, how can the world support them? It's easier said than done. What do you advocate should be done to support them?
All right. You see, as a matter of fact, I do not know how, this international politics goes, but I believe, someone from India, maybe some responsible minister, or maybe, the government of India, they should advise the government of Iran that this kind of treatment is something which is full of abhorrence, which is demoniac, which is devilish, and the girls should not be meted out with this kind of punishment. And there are girls' organizations, women's organizations all over the world, including 56 Muslim countries. They too should, if they can't come onto the streets, at least they should protest through whatever means of media are there, right? Through maybe could be from email, could be from Facebook, could be from Instagram. All these facets are available to spread their voice, because this Arab Spring, how it actually came about. It came about with the help of this, with the force of media. So I believe that girls from all over the world who actually support this poor child who was killed by this moral police of Iran, they should all speak against them. And I, through your program, I would also like to suggest to the world leaders that they should also come out. They should send their messages to the rulers of Iran, to the who's who of Iran, that it must stop. And the girl whose life has been, unfortunately finished because of this system. In fact, this system should finish, right? The solution is not that the girl should be compensated, because money can never and ever compensate any amount of money for a life. So if the system is taken care of after the pressure from the world, I think, this moral police system will finish not only in Iran, but also in other countries. You see Turkey. in Turkey, most of the Muslim women, they are modern, right? And I was telling you about Iran and Afghanistan. Girls at night used to wear frocks, they used to wear skirts, they used to don, lipstick. And, unfortunately, one of my friends, she was telling me something which happened with her in Saudi Arabia. She was into the market and she had this two women, she and her friend, they had lipsticks. So this policeman came to them and he took them to the police station. See, you are not veiled, and you have put on top of that, you have put a lipstick. I mean, what is this? Anyway, since they had Indian passport, they were let free, but they were troubled a lot. This kind of a system must go from all the Islamic countries, and I do not know whether it will go or not, but a movement should be made from, at least two sisters are there. In fact, I should say two daughters are here on the program. Yana is there and Lubna is there. Why not you write to the embassy of Iran? We are very sad. We are also Muslim women. We are progressive. We also use veil and we also use hijab. But this kind of a thing that a young girl who is not wearing hijab, she is dragged to the police station, and in an inhuman way, in a devilish manner, she's killed. I think it is time for us to rise, to get up. If we just have debates on certain channels, this will not do. Let us take out our letterheads. Let us take a pen, or maybe the pen is something which is outdated. Let us type out and send our protest directly to the Iranian embassy in Delhi as far as India is concerned.
All right. Concluding thoughts. Yana, starting with you.
I also feel that apart from all the solutions that Baksab gave, I also feel that it's important for women to stand for each other, like Lubna just said, and like I'm saying, that because there are also a lot of women in Iran who you must have seen videos where one girl is saying, to another girl in a public bus that, oh, you're not wearing hijab. Wait, I'll just send your video to the police guards, and they'll take care of you. So, there are a lot of women who feel that, okay, we want to follow this, so we'll make sure all other sisters also follow this. And such kind of announcements were made in Kashmir also. That from next Sunday, if any of you Kashmiri girls are seen without hijab, and not just hijab, proper abaya, then don't blame us, see what we'll come out and do. And who was spreading this on the internet? A girl herself. So all women must come together and shut such girls up and tell these women either, support women's empowerment. You can continue to wear hijab if you want, but don't stop others from choosing their freedom, from their personal choices, and don't be hand in glove with the same people who are oppressing women, because that oppression can unleash on you in other ways. Fine, you are okay to wear hijab, but the same police guards tomorrow can abduct you and do anything with you, and then just pass on forward to the authorities that she was not wearing a hijab properly, that's why we abducted her. So such things can happen. So women have to understand that you are not doing some great service to God, to Allah, by complaining about women who are not wearing hijab to such kind of regimes and authorities and establishments which are completely anti-human. So the first service to God is if you respect other human beings, and that goes for everybody.
Mohammad Ali Shah.
Also, sorry.
Go ahead.
Other point I wanted to make is that, like Ali said, that in Saudi Arabia, a few girls decided, okay, let's just forget all the rules and let's just drive. Okay, fine. So they got arrested, but at least they started the initiative, right? So now the problem is with the OIC organization, right? Organization of Islamic Cooperation. Even if some countries like Turkey or some countries, even Pakistan, nobody forces women to wear hijab there. So if some countries decide to come forward and say that we condemn what happened in Iran, and it took them so many years, it took UAE and Bahrain and some countries so many years to actually say we accept Israel. Now I don't know how many more years it's going to take them to say that we condemn what happened in Iran, because they're all wondering, let that country do it first, let that country do it first. We don't want to be the ones who break the rules of OIC. So this
Very
OIC
well said.
is a big problem, and all the Arab countries who are secretly condemning what happened in Iran must come out openly and condemn it. by India saying anything, I don't think it's going to help much, because India was not even allowed to be part of the OIC. I think OIC countries must come and voice their opinion and condemn it. Otherwise, the women of these OIC countries must understand one thing, that your countries and your governments don't care about you, and that's the reason they are not condemning this.
Okay, right. Mohammad Ali Shah, quickly, and then Lubna, we conclude then.
I think the society will not change unless and until we change our own selves. So I think the change has started, and I commend the women of Iran once again, and I think the women of Saudi Arabia over there, when I mentioned decades earlier when they said, okay, let's break the laws and let us make a change now and let's start driving. So I think, yes, it's the winds of change have started, and it's not long when today, when we talk about women empowerment, when we have households telling men that you please go accompany your sister because she would be safe. But soon it's going to be the time when, Vineet, when parents would say, son, take your sister along, you'll be safe if you take your sister along. So it's about time that, the society is evolving, it's changing, and the Gulf countries...
Okay, all right. Lubna, quickly, please. 15 seconds.
See, I doubt if world leaders or politicians would do anything at all, because they are scared of Iran and most of the Middle East countries somehow. And all what they can do is interfere with India. Whatever is happening in India, that interfere is their job. But the power is with us, the social media. We should.
That's very well said, Lubna.
Yes.
I was just trying to say that yes, I will be writing to the Iranian embassy, and I will be writing whatever I will say. Yes, definitely. And now the girls should actually come forward, and through social media they can reach everywhere. And the rest of the media too should join. Yes.
Okay, all right. Good points there. Good points. We have run out of time. Thank you, folks. But definitely, what the consensus is that reform needs to be a mandate now in countries like Iran.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.